ourselves out of here.
I need you to trust me right now.
I'm coming back.
I wanted to go ahead and move on to my review for Idris Elba's Beast, chat. Here he is in another kitty cat film. In case you forgot, chat, 2019's cast is McCavity. Very interesting role, chat. Maybe second time's the charm for Idris Elba, chat. Maybe a second attempt at a kitty cat film will be good. It'll be good for him, right? With Beast. For those who don't know, Beast is the latest creature feature and killer animal movie as released in 2022. It follows Idris Elba, who plays this Dr. Samuels, who's a recently widowed husband, and he's returning to South Africa where he met his first wife. And it's this long-planned trip where he wants to, experience with his two children, his two daughters, Meredith and Norah, and they're meeting with an old family friend, and who's also a biologist and an anti-poacher, and wants to basically take them on a safari and to experience their mother's home. And while this is all going on, chat, you have a man-eating wild lion that is craving human flesh and is just destroying the countryside, no matter where it's going, chat. A more apt description for this movie is honestly, it's this. This is like from the lion's perspective, chat, which the movie actually opens up with the lion's perspective. The lion, I can only, what I thought was going through the lion's mind from the very beginning of this movie, chat, is I'm here to fuck female lions and eat people, and I'm all out of female lions, chat, because that's what this movie is. This male lions, female lions were all taken from him, chat. They were all killed, and he's like, well, now I got fucking nothing, and I just want to eat and kill everything else, especially those two-legged bastards who are walking around shooting me with those goddamn guns. That's the premise of the movie. And then Idris Elba and his family enters, chat. That's what this is. That's the overall premise. But what did I think about this film? Kind of want to go over my overall thoughts before getting into nitty-gritty details. I will say, I think there are a lot of technical aspects of Beast, of this film, that are quite good, and you'll walk away liking those technical aspects for the most part. I think the cinematography is excellent in this movie, and it really makes you appreciate just like the beauty of Africa. The director, who sounds like a Klingon, Baltasar Kormákur, he really enjoys doing like long shots and long takes, and those shots that he does, like like a sequence where you have people entering a car, going over a victim, going back to the car. It all seems to be done in one take or one shot. It's pretty cool. It's pretty effective. And that helps build like a lot of tension, especially when you have these people that are just out, doing the safari out in the jungles and the plains of Africa. Like I do like that. You feel it. Also, in terms of the other technical aspects, I think the CGI for the most part in this movie is pretty good, especially for the lion, and the other creatures are pretty great as well. The choreography and some of the various fight scenes in the film and the horse survival sequences, I think they work for the most part. And there is an ending battle with a lion that is really fucking good. And it's kind of like rough to watch because of what's happening. I was very impressed with a lot of the choreography, especially towards the film's final act. And so, like, oh, shit, this seems to be a very, a good killer animal movie. Well, there are some problems with this film, chat, that to me really bog it down. And it's the fact that, the problem is that the film is just bogged down by some terrible characters and atrocious dialogue. I think Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley, who are the two, adults in the film, the two male leads in the movie, they deliver solid performances. For the most part. It's just that it's sometimes hindered by really awkward dialogue, but they make it work for the most part, and they really power through a lot of that dialogue, chat. They do the best that they can with it, and for the most part, they come out pretty well by the end of the film. Now the daughters, And listen, I don't mean to be mean, chat. The daughters in this movie, the two kids, Idris Elba's children, they're some of the worst child characters that I've seen in a film in a very long time. They're written to be petulant, rude, and obnoxious from the get-go, chat. Immediately, as soon as we're introduced to them, they are there to consistently and constantly create faux tension with Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley. And I guess they're there to represent the human emotional conflict, but they are so annoying that you just outright resent them. You never buy it for a second, the emotional conflict. And it's incredibly misplaced in various scenes. Like this, for example, and also it's an example of this, the terrible dialogue. You know, there's a situation where eventually, you know, it's kind of interesting. Like, it kind of becomes a bottle film when they have to stay in this van, in this car. Sharlto Copley's got to go out and deal with this lion that is on the prowl, that has been slaughtering innocent villagers and things. And Idris Elba's like, hey, girls, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go find Sharlto Copley. And then the daughter just says, like, you'll be right back? That's what you said right before mom died of cancer. And it's like, why are you bringing that shit up? That has nothing to do with the scenario that we're in right. And it's just to, one, I feel it's just to have the girls do something or say something. But it's that kind of shit. It's like, that has no relevance to what's actually going on in the scene, and it makes you look like an asshole, like a little asshole. And it's making me want the lion to eat you. That's what it is. The girls, they constantly run off. They never listen. They ignore instructions. And most of it, chat, it's just to set up like a tense scene or an action sequence. But the thing is, it kind of ruins the tense scene or the action sequence because it has them doing something stupid. It's like, well, that's what you fucking get. That's what you get. And so why should I feel tense or scared for you because you brought this on yourself? That's a huge issue with this movie. There also seems, for whatever reason, I felt like there seems to be like a lot of improv in this movie. Like, this is very much a bare bones script, and a lot of the dialogue, I don't know, some of the dialogue just didn't feel written. Almost, it felt like Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley are improvising a lot of stuff, but it's especially noticeable of the girls. Like, Elba and Copley, they skirt by, but the improv skills of the other two actresses are just atrocious. Their whole thing is like, they state obvious things. They state obvious things, and it just doesn't feel like natural to me. Like, for example, the lion at one point in the movie breaks the window. It breaks the window. Oh no! And after the scene happens, he just up is like, all right, don't worry, girls, everything will be fine. And the girl's like, the lion, Dad, it broke the window. It broke the window. And the other sister's like, yes, the window was broken by the lion. It's like, we all know the fucking window was broken. Why are we stating it multiple times? Why do we have to have two other characters confirm? You know, the window is indeed broken. And they do this repeatedly. They also do this weird thing where the two actresses, and it's a weird criticism, but I just noticed, this stuck out to me. Every line of dialogue, they end by saying the other's name. What do you think we should do? Like, I forget like, you have Norah and Meredith. Like, Dad is going away, Norah. What should we do, Norah? The window is broken. Or like, they talk like that. It's like, this is just weird. Why you keep saying, to me, it's the only thing that I can think of, they're trying to get the audience to remember the characters' names, and that's why they keep saying each other's names, like back and forth. That's like not, like Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley don't do that. But these girls like consistently do it, and it's just fucking weird, and it comes off really awkward for me. And because of how annoying they are, because of how petulant they are, and obnoxious, you just end up cheering for the lion in the end. You just don't care. Like, I hope that they get eaten. Also, there is one of the funniest repeated dream sequences that I've ever seen in a movie. It's not like, you know, you have like, oh, it was a nightmare, and I woke up. They don't do that once. They don't do that twice. They do that 3 times in a row. Like a nightmare sequence, boom, 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 one after the other. Where Idris Elba sees something scary, he wakes up, he then sees something scary again, he wakes up for a second time, and the third time, my dead wife is next to me, and then he wakes up again. I was like, why did you do that? It just kind of, it just felt like, well, one, it just comes off unintentionally funny. It's so comedic, but it also just feels like padding. It's like, I just don't like the whole idea, like, we're being attacked by a lion, but it was a nightmare. It wasn't really there. I just stop it. That's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. That's like, haha, gotcha. But they try to get you like 3 times in a row, and it's like, what the fuck? It's very weird. Very awkward. I mean, the characters, again, these are very bare bones characters. You really have 4. There are some poachers, but they're just meat. The poachers are just there to die. They're there to be nommed on, to be eaten and mauled and scratched and have their intestines ripped out. And the lion does that to great effect. The lion is the best character in the film. What they have that lion do, and he puts in some fucking work in this movie, chat. Chasing after Idris Elba, chasing after Sharlto Copley, munching on all these poachers, messing with those 2 girls when they run off. It's like, hey, your dad told you to stay in the car. I'm going to have to chase you now. That line is great. He poached poachers, indeed. But the other characters, like, they're fine. The thing is, you don't have to have like these in a survival movie, a survival scenario, these types of movies, the character doesn't need a profound amount of depth because we're already invested in the character of what they're going through. All right. And so for the most part, like Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley, I think they're fine. They do a good job for the material that they're given. It's not a lot, but they make it work. Okay. You buy it and you care about them when something bad happens to them. Right. But again, the 2 girls, which I don't mean to be mean to them, chat. Iyana Halley, who plays Meredith, and Leah Sava Jeffries, who plays Norah. The older and younger, respectively. Anytime they're on, they have a scene together, especially when they're together. It's just like, we're going to be precocious assholes, and I'm like, I can't stand this. It's terrible. It's terrible. To wrap up, I feel like it's weird. Like there's very little and yet too much at the same time within this movie. The family dynamic is just unnecessary and annoying, and I think takes away from the overall experience. I feel like if you had just done a simple survival story of a man versus nature, or of a guy and his best friend, and they have to deal with this situation, they have to somehow get out of this alive, I feel like that would have been a lot better. Or there's another thing too. If instead of having the daughters not be so petulant, have them, what if this is a trip they always wanted to go on together and they're happy? Because I'm so tired of the little kids that don't do what they're told, or they're just being rude to the parent or the guardian, even though they're trying to keep them alive, and they're still being a little dick to the parental figure. It's like, why don't we just do the switch where it's like, no, actually you like the kid and you want the kid to survive, and the kid is working with the adult, and when the parents tells the kid to do something, the kid does something, and the kid portrays a level of competence. Why don't we do it? Like, they could have done that, and they just choose not to. They just choose not to. Like, when the girls do something right, it's just like, well, that seems crazy that even happened. It's like, oh, okay, well, you have to give them, just portray them as competent in one occasion for each one, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like, all right, sure, whatever. I feel like it's just a few fixes. Had they just done that, and where they just not made the kids so annoying, you could have had like a really solid, slick, a killer animal movie that had a simple premise, and you would have felt invested in the human story. Inevitably, you just don't. You don't. You're just kind of there for the thrills. You're just there for Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley and seeing like, oh, how are they going to get out of this, or how they, are they going to get out of this? Like that. That's what works with the movie. But again, I don't mean to be mean, but those 2 girls are awful in the film. Yeah, terrible child actors. And so yeah, it's Yeah, God, if I were to give this a rating right now, Chad, I think at this point I'd probably, this is a disappointment because I was actually looking forward to this film. I would give this a low rental on the double toasted scale. There's some cool technical aspects to it that do work, some nice cinematography, some nice choreography of how the lion operates, and the CGI I feel like works really well. And I think the last lion battle, that's all I'll say, 'cause I don't want to spoil too much, but the last lion battle is really good and really rough to watch. And I thought they They nailed it. They nailed it. But it's all the stuff in between with the family dynamic that's like, this is just not working. People need to stop talking and just start, surviving and fighting lions. It would have been a lot better if they did it that way. So, yeah, bit of a disappointment for me, chat. A low rental on the double toasted scale. But what about you guys? For those of you who have seen Beast, the movie's getting it's kind of mixed to positive reviews. I've seen a lot of people like enjoying this movie. But I'm curious to hear what other people have to say. What about you, chat? Have you guys seen Beast? What do you think of the characters?